The vast emptiness of space was broken only by the scattered light of distant stars and the hulking shapes of the Verlekian warships. What had once been the pride of the Galactic Alliance, a fleet of 53 ships carrying over 18,000 crew members, now drifted helplessly at the edge of an unmapped solar system. Admiral Zell Voren stood on the command deck of the flagship Celestial Vanguard, his forearms crossed tightly across his chest as he stared at the screen display. The red emergency lights cast an eerie glow across his scaled face, showing the deep lines of worry on his features. "Status report," he demanded, his voice carrying the weight of his 97 years of military service. Lieutenant Caro approached, with clear hesitation. "The quantum drive remains broken, sir. Engineering reports damage that cannot be fixed to the main containment field. The other ships report similar failures. We are stranded." Zell Voren closed his inner eyelids in a sign of giving up. "And our distress signal?" "Broadcasting on all frequencies, sir, but we're in an unknown sector. The nearest Alliance outpost is at least 14 light cycles away. By the time they receive our signal," the unspoken conclusion hung in the recycled air, "by the time help arrived, their life support systems would have failed. 18,000 lives, representing 7 different species from across the Alliance, would be lost." "Sir," the communications officer interrupted, her voice rising with unusual tone, "we're detecting a response to our distress signal." Zell Voren uncrossed his arms, his jaw parts clicking in surprise. "Alliance?" "No, sir. The signal is simple. Radio communications. It's coming from the third planet of the nearby solar system." The command deck fell silent. Simple communications meant a pre-galactic civilization, one not yet part of the Alliance, possibly not even aware of life beyond their world. "Let me hear it," Zell Voren ordered, his curiosity overriding protocol. The transmission was filled with static, but the message came through clearly enough. "Unknown vessels, this is Captain Frank Collins of the United Earth Space Command vessel. Horizon. We've detected your distress signal. Do you need help?" The command deck erupted in murmurs. "Humans, a species known to the Alliance only through distant observation, classified as a developing civilization not yet ready for contact." Admiral Zell Voren hesitated only briefly before responding. Rules dictated no contact with developing worlds, but 18,000 lives hung in the balance. "This is Admiral Zell Voren of the Galactic Alliance. Our fleet is stranded with critical system failures. He paused, pride fighting with need. "Require assistance." The response was quick. "Understood, Admiral. We're calculating your position now. The horizon will reach your coordinates in approximately 6 hours. Please stand by for further communications." Zell Voren turned to his second-in-command, Commander Nexel. "What do we know about humans?" Nexel activated a data terminal. "Limited information, sir. They achieved spaceflight less than a century ago. They have established colonies on their moon and the 4th planet of their system. Their technology is primitive by our standards, yet they detected our distress signal and understood it," Zell Voren noted. "And they offered help without hesitation." "Sir, this violates the non-interference directive," Lieutenant Caro pointed out. "Humans are classified as a Level 2 civilization. Contact is forbidden until they achieve independent faster-than-light travel." The Admiral's scales shifted color slightly, showing his inner conflict. "I am aware of the directive, Lieutenant. I am also aware that without assistance, this fleet and all aboard will perish. The directive must yield to survival. Over the bow." Next 6 hours, the crew of the Celestial Vanguard prepared for first contact. The ship's automatic systems translated the human language, and cultural specialists reviewed the limited data they had on human behavior and customs. "They appear to be a hierarchical species," reported cultural specialist Mira, her tentacles waving as she displayed images of human military structures. "They respect chain of command but value individual initiative. They are remarkably adaptable for such a young species." "And warlike?" asked Commander Nexel. Mira's tentacles curled in what passed for a shrug in her species. "Yes, but no more so than many Alliance members at a similar stage of development. Their history shows constant conflict, but also remarkable cooperation. when faced with common threats. Admiral Zelvoran was about to respond when Lieutenant Caro called out, "Sir, we're detecting an approaching vessel. It's small." The view screen activated, showing a ship approaching the stranded fleet. Compared to the massive Verlekian vessels, the human ship was tiny, perhaps 1/20th the size of the Celestial Vanguard. "That cannot be their main vessel," Commander Nexel said with disbelief. "Sir, they're hailing us," the communications officer reported. "On screen," Zelvoran ordered. The screen changed to show the interior of what was clearly a command bridge. In the center stood a human male wearing a blue uniform with insignia on the shoulders. "Admiral Zelvoran, I presume. Captain Frank Collins of the UESC Horizon. We've reached your position and are ready to offer assistance." Zelvoran stepped forward, aware that this was a historic moment. The first official contact between the Alliance and humanity. "Captain Collins, we appreciate your prompt response to our distress call. However, I must inform you that our technological needs may be beyond your capabilities. Our fleet uses quantum flux drive systems that are likely centuries ahead of your current technology." The human captain smiled, a gesture the cultural briefing had identified as friendly. "With all due respect, Admiral, why don't you let us be the judge of what we can and cannot help with? We humans have a knack for solving problems, especially the impossible ones." There was something in the human's confidence that gave Zelvoran pause. By all logic, a Level 2 civilization should have nothing to offer a stranded Alliance fleet. Yet the alternative was to wait for death. "Very well, Captain. We welcome your assistance. How do you wish to proceed?" "I'd like to send over a team of engineers to assess your situation, with your permission. In the meantime, our ship can provide emergency supplies if needed." Zelvoran glanced at his officers, noting their mix of doubt and hope. "Permission granted, Captain. We will prepare to receive your team." As the communication ended, Commander Nexel approached the Admiral. "Sir, do you really believe these humans can help us?" Zelvoran watched the small human ship through the view screen. "I do not know, Commander. But in my 97 cycles I have learned that help often comes from unexpected sources. And right now, they are our only hope." Within the hour, the human shuttle would dock with the Celestial Vanguard, and a new chapter in galactic history would begin. What neither the stranded aliens nor the helpful humans could know was that this chance encounter would forever change the course of both their civilizations. Captain Frank Collins had been leading deep space exploration missions for 15 years, but nothing in his experience had prepared him for this moment. The Horizon, Earth's most advanced ship, had been mapping the outer reaches of the solar system when they detected the unusual energy pattern. Now, through the window of the Horizon's bridge, he stared at what could only be described as a fleet of alien ships, massive structures of unfamiliar design, their hulls shining with a material unknown to human science. "Transmit our first contact protocols," Frank ordered, his voice steady despite the historic importance of the moment. "And get me Dr. Olivia Ward." Lieutenant Samantha Green worked her control panel with practiced skill. "Channel open, sir." Frank cleared his throat. "This is Captain Frank Collins of the UESC Horizon. We're sending a shuttle to your main ship for face-to-face communication. Our chief language expert and diplomatic officer will be aboard." The alien response came quickly. "Understood, Captain Collins. We will prepare for your arrival." 20 minutes later, Dr. Olivia Ward adjusted the collar of her uniform as the shuttle approached the massive alien flagship. As the leading expert in theoretical alien languages, she had spent her career preparing for a moment she never truly believed would come. "Nervous?" asked Lieutenant Paul Martinez, the shuttle pilot. Olivia smiled tightly. "Just trying to remember that I represent the entire human race right now. No pressure." The shuttle docked with surprising ease, the alien vessel somehow adapting its airlock to fit the human craft. As the pressure balanced, Olivia took a deep breath of filtered air and stepped through the opening door. The alien group waded in, a large room. At their center stood a tall figure with 4 arms and reptile-like features, flanked by beings of various forms, some vaguely humanoid, others completely foreign to human experience. "I am Admiral Zelvoran," the central figure announced, The words somehow translated through a device on its uniform. "Welcome aboard the Celestial Vanguard." Olivia stepped forward. "Dr. Olivia Ward of Earth, on behalf of humanity, we extend our hand in friendship and assistance." She literally held out her hand, a gesture that caused visible confusion among the aliens, until Zelvoran, after a moment's pause, reached out with his lower right arm and awkwardly copied the handshake. "Your arrival is unexpected," Zelvoran admitted. "Your species is known to us but classified as pre-contact. Your technological abilities were underestimated." "We're full of surprises," Olivia replied with a diplomatic smile. "Now tell us about your situation." Over the next hour, the humans learned of the Galactic Alliance's problem. The Verlekian fleet had been testing an experimental quantum drive when a system failure stranded them, damaging their engines beyond repair. Their power reserves were running low, and with them, the life support for 18,000 crew members. When the briefing ended, Olivia requested a private channel to the horizon. "Captain, they need more help than we can provide alone," she reported. "But I think Earth might just have what they need." Frank's voice came through clearly. "I've already contacted UESC Command. Every available ship is being sent. Let's show these aliens what humanity can do." Within 3 days, a remarkable scene unfolded in the alien flagship's main engine room. Chief Engineer Alan Murphy stood before a holographic display of the alien quantum drive, scratching his head as he studied the complex system. "It's like nothing I've ever seen," he told the alien engineer beside him, a six-limbed being named Trellix. "But the basic principles, there's something familiar here." Trellix moved his translucent limbs through the hologram. "Your understanding is impressive for a species that has not yet developed quantum technology." Alan grinned. "We may not have quantum drives, but we understand quantum physics. And more importantly, we know how to fix things with limited resources." Across the fleet, similar scenes played out as human engineers worked alongside alien crews. 7 more human ships had arrived, bringing scientists, engineers, and supplies. The human vessels were smaller and less advanced than the alien ships, but they brought fresh perspectives and, importantly, replacement materials that could be adapted to the aliens' needs. On the command deck, Captain Frank Collins and Admiral Zelvoran reviewed the progress reports. "Your engineers are remarkably resourceful," the alien admiral observed. "They approach problems in ways we would not consider." Frank nodded. "That's humanity's greatest strength. We're used to making do with what we have. Even so, the quantum drive system is beyond repair with your current technology," Zelvoran stated, his tone somber. "Maybe we can't fix it exactly as it was," Frank replied. "But we might be able to create something new, a hybrid system using both our technologies." In the medical bay, Dr. Diane Russell was making discoveries of her own. The alien life support systems were failing, but human environmental engineering, developed for space exploration with limited resources, offered solutions the more advanced alien technology hadn't considered. "Your systems are designed for perfect efficiency," Diane explained to the alien medical staff. "Ours are designed for backup plans and survival in worst-case scenarios." By the end of the week, a plan was forming. The combined human-alien teams had developed a hybrid power system that could sustain life support indefinitely. More impressively, they were working on a modified propulsion system that might allow the fleet to reach the nearest Galactic Alliance outpost. In the flagship's conference room, Olivia watched as alien and human engineers presented their ideas. The solution was unorthodox, using human fusion technology to jumpstart the aliens' more advanced quantum systems. But the mathematics suggested it could work. "It's never been done before," Alan Murphy admitted as he finished the presentation. "But the theory is sound." Admiral Zelvoran looked around the room, his gaze moving from the human visitors to his own crew. "In my 97 cycles of service, I have never witnessed such innovation. If this works, it will work," Frank stated with confidence. "Humanity has been beating impossible odds since we first looked up at the stars." For the first time, Since the fleet had become stranded, hope filled the recycled air of the celestial vanguard. The alliance between humans and aliens was more than a rescue mission now. It was becoming a true exchange of knowledge and culture. That evening, as the human team prepared to return to their ships for rest, Admiral Zelvorn approached Captain Collins privately. "There is something you should know, Captain," the alien commander said, his voice low. "The Galactic Alliance has protocols for first contact with developing civilizations. By rights, we should not have revealed ourselves to your species for at least another century." Frank raised an eyebrow. "Sorry to crash the party early." "On the contrary," Zelvorn replied, his mandibles clicking in what Frank had learned was a sign of amusement. "Your arrival has been enlightening. The Alliance Council will need to reconsider many of its assumptions about humanity." As Frank returned to the horizon, he looked back at the massive alien fleet. In just 1 week, humanity had gone from believing they were alone in the universe to working alongside beings from dozens of worlds. Whatever happened next would change the course of human history forever. And in the vast workshop of the Celestial Vanguard, human and alien engineers continued to work through the night, creating something that had never existed before: a bridge between two levels of technology and two civilizations that might never have met if not for a distress call and humanity's instinct to help those in need. The large work area of the Celestial Vanguard buzzed with activity. 2 weeks had passed since first contact, and the impossible was slowly becoming possible. Human engineers in blue UESC uniforms worked alongside aliens of different shapes and sizes, creating what many on both sides had thought could never work. Chief Engineer Alan Murphy wiped sweat from his face as he looked at the alien quantum drive plans, shown as a floating image above the work table. After 10 days of nonstop work, he was beginning to understand the basic ideas, if not all the details. "It's like comparing a steam engine to a nuclear reactor," he said to Trellix, the 6-limbed alien who specialized in quantum mechanics. Trellix's clear limbs moved through the floating image. "Your comparison is good. Your species' technology is different. Less advanced in some ways, but surprisingly creative in others." Alan smiled. "Sometimes the old ways work when the new ones fail. In the time since first contact, Earth had acted with amazing speed. 12 more human ships had arrived, bringing engineers, scientists, and supplies. The ships weren't as large or advanced as the alien vessels, but they brought fresh ideas and, importantly, replacement materials that could be adapted to the aliens' needs. Your quantum field collapsed because of how it interacted with the nearby star," explained Dr. Nicole Bennett, a quantum physicist from Earth's Lunar Research Station. She pointed to her readings on a screen. "The field is still there, though. It's the containment system that failed." Trellix's sensing limbs shook with excitement. "If we bypass the main regulator and root power through a modified version of your fusion stabilizers—" "That would never work in theory," Alan said, "but the math checks out. We could create a hybrid system." This was happening all over the fleet. Humans and aliens working together, finding solutions that neither would have discovered alone. The aliens had advanced technology, but were specialists who thought in established ways. The humans were less advanced but brought creative thinking and a talent for improvising. On the command deck, Captain Frank Collins watched as Admiral Zelvorn reviewed the latest progress reports. "Your people continue to impress me," the alien Admiral said. "They solve problems in ways we would never think of," Frank nodded. "Necessity is the mother of invention. Humans have always had to make do with limited resources." "Yet you reach the stars," Zelvorn observed. "One small step at a time," Frank replied. "We're stubborn that way." The Admiral's inner eyelids blinked in what Frank had learned was a sign of deep thought. "The Alliance has encountered many species, Captain. Some were peaceful, others not. But few have shown your kind of adaptability combined with your willingness to help strangers." In the engineering bay, the work continued. The combined teams had created a way to use human fusion technology to power the alien quantum systems. It wasn't elegant, but it was working. "It's like using a bicycle to jumpstart a spaceship," Alan explained to a group of alien engineers. Not how it was designed to work, but if it gets us moving, that's what matters. By the end of the third week, the first real test was ready. One of the smaller alien vessels would attempt to power up using the hybrid system. If it worked, they would apply the same fix to the entire fleet. Everyone gathered in the command center to watch. Humans and aliens stood side by side, their differences temporarily forgotten in the shared moment of anticipation. Hybrid power system is online, reported Trellix from the test vessel. Quantum field is stabilizing at 42% capacity. Isn't that enough? Frank asked quietly. Admiral Zelvoran nodded. More than enough for life support and basic maneuvering. If this works, we can begin our journey to the nearest Alliance outpost. Initiating full power sequence, Trellix announced. 3, 2, 1. On the main screen, they watched as lights flickered across the test vessel. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then slowly, the ship began to move. A cheer went up from the human team, echoed by various sounds of celebration from the different alien species. It works, Alan shouted, clapping Olivia on the back. The crazy hybrid actually works. Over the next several days, the same modifications were applied to all 53 ships in the fleet. Human shuttles moved between the massive alien vessels, carrying engineering teams and equipment. The work was hard but moved quickly as both species learned from each other. During a break in the work, Dr. Olivia Ward found herself in what the aliens called a relaxation garden, a room designed to look like a natural setting from their homeworld. Strange plants with glowing leaves provided light, and the air smelled of sweet spices. May I join you? Asked Admiral Zelvoran, approaching with 2 cups of a steaming liquid. Of course, Olivia replied, accepting one of the cups. The drink was warm and tasted like cinnamon and something she couldn't identify. Your people have done the impossible, the Admiral said. When we return to Alliance space, the Council will need to reconsider Earth's classification. Olivia sipped her drink. What does that mean exactly? Currently, Earth is classified as a Level 2 civilization, technologically advanced enough for space travel within your solar system, but not ready for contact with the galactic community. The Admiral's forearms made a gesture that suggested elevation. After this, you may be reclassified as Level 3, meaning official contact and limited knowledge exchange would be permitted. So we're getting a promotion, Olivia said with a smile. The Admiral's mandibles clicked in amusement. In a manner of speaking, yes. The normal protocols would have delayed contact with Earth for at least another century. Your response to our distress call has accelerated matters. Olivia looked out at the strange plants, thinking about what this meant for humanity. And what happens next? That is partly up to your leaders, Zelvoran replied. But I have been authorized to invite a small delegation from Earth to accompany us back to Alliance space. A first step toward formal relations. Later that day, Olivia relayed this conversation to Captain Frank Collins and the other human leaders. The implications were enormous. Humanity's first official contact with an advanced galactic civilization. UESC Command is going to have a field day with this, Frank said, running a hand through his hair. 1 minute we're searching for bacterial life on Europa. The next we're being invited to join a galactic alliance. Alan Murphy laughed. All because we answered a distress. Colin were too stubborn to admit something was impossible. As they discussed the opportunity, the repair work continued throughout the fleet. The modified alien vessels, now bearing visible signs of human modifications, patches of Earth metals against the glowing alien hulls, powered up their engines, one by one. What had begun as a rescue mission was becoming something much more significant, the beginning of humanity's greater journey to the stars, not as newcomers, but as problem solvers who had earned their place through ingenuity and compassion. The empty space around the alien fleet was now full of activity. After a month of hard work, the day had finally come to test the full hybrid propulsion system. Human ships moved between the massive alien vessels, making final checks and adjustments. Commander, Linda Hayes floated in zero gravity alongside Trellix, supervising the installation of the last components on the outside of the Celestial Vanguard. Fusion stabilizer is secured, she reported through her radio, ready to connect to the quantum field. Inside the ship, Alan Murphy and a team of human and alien engineers watched the connection process on their screens. The hybrid system they had designed was using human technology to restart the more advanced alien systems. It's like using a car battery to start a quantum computer, Alan had explained during the planning phase. Impossible in theory, necessary in practice. Admiral Zell Voren stood on the command deck, watching the preparations with what humans had learned to recognize as amazement. In just 30 days, these humans had done what his own engineers had said could not be done. The Alliance would need to seriously reconsider their view of Earth. Final connections complete, Linda's voice announced over the radio. Ready to start power transfer when you give the word. Alan gave a thumbs up to the alien engineers, a human gesture they had quickly learned to copy. Starting power transfer. In 3, 2, 1. Throughout the flagship, lights flickered briefly before becoming steady and bright. A cheer went up from the human team, matched by various sounds of celebration from the alien crew members. Power levels at 63% and holding, reported Lieutenant Caro. Propulsion systems responding. The system is stable. Over the next 3 days, the same changes were made to the remaining 52 ships in the fleet. Human shuttles moved quickly between the massive alien ships carrying engineering teams and equipment. The work was tiring but moved quickly as both species continued to learn from each other. Captain Frank Collins stood on the bridge of the horizon, watching the activity through the window. Dr. Olivia Ward joined him, her eyes reflecting the distant starlight. "We've done more than save them," she said quietly. "We've changed the course of galactic history." Frank nodded. Earth was going to meet the galactic community eventually. Better to do it as helpers than as strangers. The plan was for the human vessels to escort the alien fleet to the edge of the solar system, where the repaired quantum drives could be safely activated. From there, the fleet would travel to the nearest Alliance outpost. As the fleet prepared to leave, Admiral Zell Voren asked for a private meeting with the human leaders. Captain Collins, Dr. Ward, Commander Hayes, and Chief Engineer Murphy represented Earth in the flagship's meeting room. "Before we depart, I must express the thanks of not just myself, but the entire Galactic Alliance," the Admiral began formally. "Your species has shown qualities that are rare in our experience. Technical creativity, certainly, but more importantly, a willingness to help strangers without question." Frank nodded slightly. "It's what we'd hope any intelligent species would do." "Perhaps," Zell Voren replied, "but it is not always what happens. The Alliance Council will be very interested in establishing formal relations with Earth after this incident." Olivia leaned forward. "We look forward to that opportunity, Admiral." The Admiral hesitated, his inner eyelids blinking rapidly, a sign of emotional importance. "There is something else. Alliance rules are clear about contact with developing worlds, but given the circumstances, the Council has authorized me to offer Earth an opportunity." Alan raised an eyebrow. "What kind of opportunity?" "Knowledge exchange. Limited access to Alliance technologies. A path to eventual membership should Earth desire it." The Admiral's forearms spread in a gesture of openness. "Your world would normally wait another century before such contact, but you have earned this exception." The humans exchanged glances, understanding the importance of this moment. They were being offered a shortcut to the stars. "We'll need to talk with our leaders," Frank replied carefully. "But speaking personally, I believe Earth would welcome the opportunity." As the meeting ended, preparations for departure entered their final phase. One question remained. Who would go with the alien fleet to represent humanity? After discussions with UESC Command, the decision was made. The Horizon, along with 2 other Earth vessels, would accompany the alien Armada. Dr. Olivia Ward would lead a team of scientists, engineers, and diplomats as humanity's first official representatives to the galactic community. Commander Linda Hayes would stay behind, leading a team of human engineers who would work with the small group of aliens staying on Earth to establish the first permanent alien embassy. As the final preparations were completed, Alan Murphy found himself making last-minute adjustments to the hybrid drive system alongside Trellix. The two engineers had developed an unlikely friendship over the past month. "I'm still not convinced this wasn't your plan all along," Alan joked as he tightened a connection. "Pretend to be stranded so you could get a first look at the primitive humans." Trellix's sensing limbs vibrated in what Alan had learned was laughter. "If that were true, we would have chosen a less embarrassing way to introduce ourselves. But perhaps the universe has its own wisdom. Of all the species who might have found us, yours was uniquely qualified to help." "How so?" Alan asked, genuinely curious. "Most advanced civilizations become specialized, optimized," Trellix explained. "They solve problems in established ways. But humanity, you approach each challenge with fresh eyes, unconstrained by convention. There is great value in that perspective." On the observation deck of the Celestial Vanguard, Dr. Olivia Ward stood with Admiral Zell Voren, looking at the distant blue sphere of Earth. As the official language expert and first contact specialist, she had been selected to lead the human delegation to Alliance space. "Your world is beautiful," Zell Voren noted. "The Alliance has recorded millions of planets, yet each one holds its own unique wonder." Olivia smiled. "I hope to see some of them soon." "You will," the Admiral assured her. "But more importantly, the Alliance will see you, humanity and all, its resourcefulness and compassion. You have much to teach us." The final hour before departure arrived. The modified quantum drives hummed with energy as the alien fleet, accompanied by 3 human vessels, prepared for the journey. Captain Frank Collins took one last look at the screen showing Earth. In his 20 years of service, he had never imagined being part of such a historic moment. "All systems ready, Captain," reported Lieutenant Samantha Green. "The alien fleet reports ready for quantum transition." Frank took a deep breath. "Signal the fleet. Prepare for jump on the Admiral's mark." As the countdown began, Frank thought about what this journey meant. Humanity was about to take its first official steps into a larger universe, not as latecomers or junior partners, but as equals who had already proven their worth among the stars. Admiral Zell Voren's voice came through clearly on all ships. "Attention all vessels. Prepare for quantum transition in 30 seconds. And to our human allies, we thank you not just for your help, but for showing us a new way forward. Together." As the countdown reached 0, the massive alien ships and their human companions disappeared in flashes of bright light, leaving behind only the emptiness of space and a humanity forever changed by the knowledge that they were not alone. The quantum jump was unlike anything the humans had experienced. For a brief moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, the 3 Earth vessels and the alien fleet existed in a state that defied normal physics. Colors no human had ever seen before flowed across the viewports, and time itself seemed to bend and stretch. When reality snapped back into focus, Captain Frank Collins blinked several times to clear his vision. Through the main viewport of the horizon, he could see unfamiliar stars and, in the distance, a glowing purple-blue nebula that wasn't visible from Earth's solar system. "Status report," he called out, his voice slightly shaky from the experience. Lieutenant Samantha Green checked her instruments. "All systems functioning, Captain. Minor power fluctuations during the jump, but everything stabilized. The alien fleet reports all vessels accounted for." "Where exactly are we?" Frank asked. "According to the navigational data the aliens shared, we're in what they call the Vega sector, approximately 47 light-years from Earth," Samantha replied. "The Alliance outpost is in orbit around the 4th planet of the nearby star system." Frank stood up from his chair, taking a moment to steady himself. Humanity's first faster-than-light jump was now in the history books, though it had been accomplished with alien help. Earth's scientists would be studying the data from this jump for decades. The communications officer called out, "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the Celestial Vanguard. Admiral Zell Voren wishes to speak with you." "Put him through," Frank ordered. The alien admiral's image appeared on the main screen. "Captain Collins, how did your crew handle their first quantum transition?" Frank smiled. "A bit disorienting, but we're adapting quickly. How long until we reach the outpost?" Approximately 6 hours at standard cruising speed, Zelvoran replied. I've sent word ahead to the outpost commander. They are quite surprised to learn we will be arriving with human vessels. No doubt, Frank thought. According to what the Admiral had told them, humans weren't supposed to make official contact with the Galactic Alliance for another century. In the science lab of the Horizon, Dr. Olivia Ward was reviewing the data from the quantum jump with her team. The readings were unlike anything human instruments had ever recorded, pushing the boundaries of what Earth's science had thought possible. This will change our understanding of physics, she said to her colleague, Dr. Benjamin Lee. The implications for energy generation alone are enormous. Benjamin nodded, his eyes wide as he studied the readouts. And this is just what we can measure with our instruments. Imagine what we'll learn once we reach the outpost. 6 hours later, the fleet approached a large space station orbiting a distant planet. The Alliance outpost was massive, easily 10 times the size of Earth's largest space station. Its design was unlike anything humans had seen before. A series of interconnected rings spinning at different rates, surrounded by smaller structures that seemed to float independently. Ships of various designs moved around the outpost, and Frank realized they were looking at vessels from multiple alien civilizations. Humanity was about to meet not just the Verelekians, but potentially dozens of other species from across the galaxy. It's beautiful, Samantha whispered from her station, voicing what everyone on the bridge was thinking. The fleet was directed to a large docking area, where the human vessels would be accommodated alongside the returning Verelekian ships. As the Horizon moved into position, Frank could see through the viewport that a welcoming committee had gathered in the docking bay. Dr. Ward to the bridge, Frank called over the intercom. We're about to make history again. When the ship was securely docked, Frank, Olivia, and a small team of human representatives prepared to disembark. They wore their dress uniforms representing not just the United Earth Space Command, but all of humanity. Remember, Frank said to his team, we're not just visitors or tourists. We're here as equals who earned our place. Admiral Zelvoran met them at the airlock, his forearms formally positioned in what the humans now recognized as a gesture of respect. Captain Collins, Dr. Ward, welcome to Outpost Stellaris, he said. The outpost commander and representatives from several Alliance species await you in the Grand Assembly. Word of your assistance to our fleet has traveled quickly. As they walked through the alien station, the humans tried not to stare at the incredible technology and the various alien beings they passed. Some looked almost human, while others were so different that it was hard to tell which parts were limbs and which were heads. The Grand Assembly was a large circular room with tiered seating. At the center stood a raised platform where Admiral Zelvoran led the human delegation. Looking up, Frank could see dozens of different alien species watching them with the universal expressions of curiosity and surprise. The outpost commander, a tall being with iridescent skin and 4 eyes, stepped forward. On behalf of the Galactic Alliance, I welcome the representatives of Earth. Admiral Zelvoran has informed us of your assistance to the Verelekian fleet, an act of compassion and ingenuity that has impressed the Alliance Council. Olivia stepped forward as Earth's designated speaker. We thank you for your welcome. Humanity is honored to make your acquaintance and looks forward to peaceful exchange between our civilizations. The commander's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. The Alliance Council has made an unprecedented decision. Earth will be officially recognized as a Level 3 civilization with provisional alliance status, effective immediately. The knowledge and technology exchange Admiral Zelvoran offered has been approved, and we invite Earth to establish a permanent embassy at this outpost. Murmurs ran through the assembled aliens. Such rapid advancement in status was clearly unusual. Back on Earth, Commander Linda Hayes was overseeing the construction of the alien embassy when she received the transmission from the Horizon. As she read the message, a smile spread across her face. In just over a month, humanity had gone from believing they were alone in the universe to becoming provisional members of a galactic alliance. And it had all begun with a simple act, responding to a distress call and offering help without hesitation. As Frank looked out at the assembled representatives of countless worlds, he knew this was just the beginning. Humanity's journey to the Stars would be faster and more amazing than anyone on Earth had ever dreamed possible. The stars had always been humanity's destiny. Now, thanks to a stranded alien armada and humanity's willingness to assist, that destiny had arrived sooner than anyone expected.